They became the defenders of the institutional rot. The problem with our system, the problem we have is not just individuals. It's just not that Comey is a bad guy. It is not simply that Merrick Garland is a bad guy. It's not simply that you have bad people in these positions of power. We have a structural problem. We have a Matt Walsh. Welcome back. Matt Walsh, I think, is a very smart and a funny guy. Just put up on Twitter. Now that the election is over, I think we can finally say that, yeah, actually Project 2025 is the agenda.
Now that the election is over, and Donald Trump is one, many prominent MAGA Republicans and MAGA influencers are publicly admitting that Project 2025, the disastrous, wildly unpopular set of policies that Trump has desperately sought to distance himself from, is actually his entire plan and has been all along. They lied, and now they're admitting it. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends. It's been a minute since we talked about Project 2025, because there were more pressing concerns, strangely, but now it's back in the forefront. And I just want to remind you of just one of the desperate, dishonest, disingenuous denials that Donald Trump had about Project 2025 during the campaign. This is just one of many. I know nothing about Project 2025. I have no idea who's behind it. I disagree with some of the things they're saying. And some of the things they're saying are absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. Anything they do, I wish them luck, but I have nothing to do with it. Again, one of many denials. We've talked about them before. Well, the election is over. Trump has won. And now many top Trump allies in the Republican Party and in the, commentator, pundit, influencer world are now admitting that was a load of BS in Project 2025 is indeed the plan. And now that they have power, why are they going to deny it? Now, they're openly admitting it just to rub the salt in our wound. So here is Steve Bannon, top Trump ally and advisor, remarking on this as well.
Matt Walsh, welcome back. Matt Walsh, I think, is a very smart and a funny guy. Just put up on Twitter. Now that the election is over, I think we can finally say that, yeah, actually Project 2025 is the agenda. That's from Matt Walsh. Fabulous. I'm going to have to, Grace, if we can grab that and put that over. Mike.
So that is the plan, and it goes beyond just that. And we're going to give you some other examples, but also as a refresher, you might be thinking, what the hell is Project 2025? Either didn't see your videos about it, or I've forgotten all about it. Well, here's progressive commentator Mehdi Hasan explaining in about 2 minutes and 30 seconds exactly what Project 2025 is.
If you believe the polls, Donald Trump is heading for the White House in 2025, and he'll be bringing Project 2025 with him. That's the 920-page policy document filled with crazy far-right authoritarian proposals that you all need to know about, and that I'm going to summarize for you right now, all 30 chapters, in just 2 minutes. Start the clock. Chapter 1, turn the White House Council, which is supposed to give the president independent legal advice, into a, quote, activist force for the president's agenda. Chapter 2, root out anyone in the National Security Council or the Office of Management and Budget who's too woke or is aligned with the president's agenda. Chapter 3, replace thousands of career civil servants with MAGA loyalists. Chapter 4, radically increase the defense budget, expand the nuclear weapons production, lift restrictions on arms sales, and expel all transgender people from the military. Chapter 5, ramp up deportations of undocumented immigrants, including dreamers, make it easier to detain kids in detention camps, and allow ICE officers to arrest migrants anywhere in the US, even without a warrant. Chapter 6, defund the Palestinian Authority, bring back Trump's Remain in Mexico asylum policy, and restrict funding for international health organizations like the WHO. Chapter 7, ramp up the use of covert ops and use the CIA to, quote, implement the president's agenda. Chapter 8, defund, quote unquote, leftist news organizations like NPR and PBS. Chapter 9, get rid of all climate policy from our foreign aid programs. Chapter 10, restrict food stamps and free school meals in low-income school districts. Chapter 11, abolish the Department of Education. Chapter 12, gut renewable energy programs and vastly expand our natural gas infrastructure. Chapter 13, shrink the EPA and shut down the Office of Environmental Justice. Chapter 14, get rid of Head Start for low-income families and ban the abortion pill mifepristone. Chapter 15, ban all non-citizens from living in government-subsidized housing, even if they're living in a family with citizens. Chapter 16, weaken the Endangered Species Act and significantly expand oil drilling in Alaska. Chapter 17, empower the president to investigate his opponents through the DOJ and eliminate the FBI's independence. Chapter 18, make it easier for businesses to discriminate on the basis of religious freedom and, of course, race. Chapter 19, restrict the EPA's ability to regulate CO2 emissions from cars. Chapter 20, force the Department of Veterans Affairs to seize abortion services and gender-affirming surgery. Chapter 21, focus the Minority Business Development Agency on, quote, the evils of socialism and communism. Chapter 22, increase taxes on millions of low-income and middle-class households. Chapter 23, it's just a long rant against China. Chapter 24, should we bring back the gold standard? Chapter 25, punish Planned Parenthood for getting COVID-19 relief loans. Chapter 26, give more of Congress's power to make trade agreements to the president. Chapter 27, abolish the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which has saved consumers tens of billions of dollars. Chapter 28, limit content moderation on social media platforms. Leave hate speech alone. Chapter 29, take away the Federal Election Commission's power to prosecute election and campaign law violations. And Chapter 30, go after companies with ESG, DEI, and other corporate social responsibility programs.
Nobody does it better than Mehdi, and yeah, those all sound disastrous. And consequently, the more people found out about Project 2025 during the campaign, the more unpopular it was. And so Donald Trump again went to desperate lengths to try to distance himself on camera through true social public statements. But at the same time, some of the leaders of Project 2025, many of which, by the way, dozens and dozens and dozens of people involved with Project 2025 directly were former members of Trump's first administration and members of his campaign. So there's an incestuous relationship which was beyond denial, but Trump was like, that's all coincidence. Sure, dozens of my supporters who actively worked for me in the political sphere or in office when I was president of the United States, that's a sheer coincidence. I have nothing to do with this. I know nothing about it. And then some of the leaders of Project 2025, like Kevin Roberts, excuse me, again, I'm still struggling with a cough. Kevin Roberts, the president of the Heritage Foundation, you know, he was like, well, that Trump is having to say this for political reasons because Project 2025 is unpopular, but this was made with his TCID approval, with his sanction. He knows what we're doing, and he knows it's good for him and the Republican Party. Well, now that the election is over again, people are publicly admitting it. Now that the election is over, I think we can finally say that, yeah, actually Project 2025 is the agenda. LOL says Daily Wire contributor Matt Walsh. Benny Johnson, conservative commentator, says, it's my honor to inform you all that Project 2025 was real. The whole time, Beau French Republican Party member who has had some pretty despicable things to say about minorities and marginalized groups says. So can we now admit that we're going to implement Project 2025 ? As Axios and other outlets have reported? Trump's MAGA allies gloat Project 2025 is, quote, the agenda. So this is where we are. Again, they're in power, or they are soon to be in power on January 20th, as President Biden has confirmed. Today, power will be peacefully transferred to President-elect Trump, and Trump also has control of the United States Senate. He will almost certainly have control of the United States House of Representatives. He has a 6-3 conservative supermajority on the court. That he is likely to expand by replacing Justices Thomas and Alito, who will almost certainly retire now that Trump is president and the Republicans control the Senate with 2 younger MAGA loyalists. We're going to do a separate video about that. This is where we are. So elections have consequences, and unfortunately, you and I and everybody else are going to be forced to live with these. And hopefully over the next 2 years, because there's going to be another set of midterms, obviously 2 years hence, hopefully we can claw back some of the ground we lost, but that starts today. So again, I understand a lot of you are exhausted emotionally, physically, spiritually, psychologically about this election, as am I, which is part of the reason why this video is coming up so late, because just sucks this. You know, this situation really sucks, but we have to keep trying for our sakes individually, for each other's sake. sakes, right? Your sake for your sake. I have to keep trying. And for my sake, I hope you keep trying. And also for the sake of our loved ones and friends and family and for future generation. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you're stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments or just say, "Hi, thank you for your support." And until next time, I'll see you soon.